Today, I'm going to be talking about Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, and a possible life-changing issue going on at the moment. This video will go into detail about a topic that I was going to be talking about in another video about a recent trend that has been going really popular in the recent time, and it's really dangerous and really idiotic. But I can't exactly say what that issue is yet. But to go on, Ye needs no introduction as he's known by, to be honest, everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who Ye, aka Kanye West is. He is my favorite artist and the best music artist and designer to ever do it. I want to wait till I got a little bit into the video before saying what the issue is. Due to YouTube and the video getting cleared by them, I wanted to make sure, just to be safe. But the issue I'm going to be talking about today is addiction, and more specifically to Nitrous. I'm also going to be talking about what's been going on and who's responsible, and go into detail about another growing issue around the US. But recently, it's been exposed that Ye has been doing Nitrous. Nitrous, also known as Whippets, is a drug that contains nitrous oxide. People inhale this through their nose or mouth, and it's been described to give a euphoric feeling for a few minutes. It can make you pass out if you do too much, and it's also known as laughing gas and used to knock you out at the dentist office so doctors can perform on you. So you've probably heard about it before, most likely, or you've even had this before, but just not in the way that everyone else has. But to start, in January of this year, Ye got a new grill inspired by the character in the James Bond movies The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. The character's name is Jaws. It's played by Richard Kiel. The character was known for his metal teeth. Personally, I think the grill design in general is so tough, and Ye's redesign of it is even better, I think. I love the look and the execution in both the movie and Ye's make of it. The grill supposedly costs $850,000 and is made out of titanium. People at the time were trying to spread rumors that Ye removed all of his teeth and replaced them with this grill, which is not true. But the man who made the grill is named Thomas P Connelly. Apparently this dude has worked with a lot of people like Shaq, Post Malone, Odell Beckham Jr., Offset, Devin Haney, Lil Yachty, and probably others as well, which if you don't know any of those people I just named, those were a mix of athletes and rappers. So he's dealt with a lot of famous people before. But this is the man who got Ye addicted to Nitrous. There has been at least one video of Ye on Nitrous before.
Ryan Garcia, this is Ye, I'm on the Nitrous.
I was at the dentist office the other day. I was taking a nitrous oxide. I suggested if anybody's stressed out.
There's even pictures of him being on this stuff, and later there will be a text conversation proving this point even more. But an insider and close person to Ye named Milo Yiannopoulos, I don't know exactly how to say that last name, but it's on screen. He is a political commentator and former chief of staff at Yeezy. Milo shared a legal statement against the dentist, claiming that Thomas did multiple terrible things to Ye. I'm going to first go over a Reddit post that highlights some of the key points. Then I'm going to go into some text messages back and forth from Milo and the dentist, and then I'm going to go over the entire legal statement that was made. But to start, the post here says, Ye's Grammys plus personality effects like birth certificates for his children and Donda's death certificate are gone from his archive. Milo says that it's allegedly been robbed by a part of the team. Billy Walsh was paid $1 million for his work on Vultures 1, which is an album that recently dropped this year. He allegedly doesn't know any of the songs from the album. The dentist's plan for Yeezy's restructure was buying a nitrous gas system charging $2.4 million. Ye was using the gas even on meetings, worrying Yeezy employees. Ye's behavior started to change. Dentist was living his best life with Ye money. Article claims the dentist has gone bankrupt many times. Milo claims some Yeezy workers support his complaint. Also, Ye paid 6 months of rent to the dentist to make him live next door. Expensive dental work. Allegedly tried to hire someone to hurt Milo. The Yeezy Gap material that was seized months ago was allegedly stolen by a dentist's friends. Eric said privately Ye has permanent brain damage due to nitrous. Milo can't assure this is true. And please remember that all this happened allegedly. So someone, I'm guessing the dentist or someone around Ye, stole Ye's Grammys, his kids' birth certificates, and his mom's death certificate. And his mom was one of the most important people to him, even naming, I think, technically just one official album after him, and there was supposed to be a second one. that never actually got fully released. It's only on the stem player, which I have actually. Allegedly now Ye has started to change his behavior and has permanent brain damage due to how much nitrous he has been using. There's also 2 text messages here. First one is from Milo that was sent to Ye's team, and the second one is from the dentist to Milo. The first text message that was from Milo to Ye's team says, "Those of you sitting silently as Ye retreats back into his old circle of abusers and enablers while spouting absolute balderdash like this, shame on you. Literally the moment I leave, we're straight back to sinister and scary. Ye is currently getting hooked on nitrous, a neurotoxin that is destroying his brain, thanks to a serial bankrupt, quote, celebrity dentist he's making CEO, and who just moved into his apartment block at Ye's expense, so he can better, quote, tend to the patient. That's what you get with no Milo. One of you, sake, do something." And this is Thomas's text to Milo. It says, "I don't know where this went sideways, but we should review the facts. You are a very intelligent man, and I think it's important that you understand the facts. I was merely helping Ye by making some introduction, which turned into making some recommendations, which turned into potential business venture. I was never looking to step on others' feet. I supplant you. I have 5 kids and a career I've worked myself to death to build. I'm slipping away from this venture, and I will do my best to help you keep Ye and his business where it was. I apologize if I interfered. It was never ever my intention. Praying hands emoji." As far as the nitrous oxide usage, the tanks are empty and have been empty. Very little nitrous has been administered to Ye. As far as general anesthesia in the dental office, we are using a well-experienced board of certified anesthesiologists and following all safety protocols to the T. At my apartment, 100% paid for by me. I've been paid $0 for all my consulting and introductions, and I'm okay with that. I am merely helping. I hope we can find a common ground and work together to repair any damage I may have caused. Tom, tried calling you multiple times. Be well, Milo. Praying hands emoji. T. So from what is read in these text messages, Milo says that since he's left Yeezy, people have now let Ye go back to his old habits, or basically go back to people that are bad for him, and he is now getting used by Thomas and no one is doing anything. But Thomas claims that there wasn't much nitrous used on Ye, and the bottles that have been around have been empty and have been empty for a long time, and he isn't using Ye and doing everything and paying for everything himself, such as his apartment, and he hasn't been paid by Yeezy and such. But this is where it gets a bit deep, as Milo has signed a legal sworn juror affidavit regarding Thomas P Connelly, also known as the dentist, which, to explain in simpler terms, this is a legal statement that he made under oath, meaning everything that he said is true, or basically, it's basically as truth as it can get, or as far as his end, it's truth. And that statement reads this: "Sworn juror affidavit regarding Thomas P Connelly, DDS," which I don't know what DDS stands for, but to go on. "Being duly sworn, I hereby swear under oath that what follows is a faithful and accurate account of the facts. My name is Milo Yiannopoulos, I think, the quote affiant. I am 39 years of age, and I reside at," and he also gives his address and some more personal information, which I'm going to censor for his own sake. He online has not really cared that he's leaked this stuff and has even promoted it even more. So I can't say that stuff for my for his sake and for my own, and for YouTube, I'm not going to say it. "I began my career as a political commentator, New York Times bestselling author, and award-winning investigative reporter. Since 2018, I have served congressmen, senators, billionaires, and most recently, megastars in the role of chief operating officer or chief of staff, tasked with solving mysteries and fixing problems where others have failed. Between 2022 and 2024, I worked for the rapper, fashion designer, and entrepreneur Ye." He forgot to add presidential candidate into that, but formerly known as Kanye West. "I resigned from his company, Yeezy LLC, in May of 2024, on a matter unrelated to this complaint. I was the most senior employee in the company with duties analogous, I think that's the word, to a combined chief executive officer and chief operating officer. Prior to my work with Ye, I served as a senior congressional aide to Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene." I don't know if that's how you say the first name, sorry. "Before that, I worked for a series of wealthy private individuals in Florida. I therefore possess a respectable track record of exposing fraud, theft, and ill intent of every kind. In fact, it is quite excellent, which is why I have been hired by some of the wealthiest and most famous people in the world to do it. Okay, boy, flex, flex. Okay, Milo. I offer this account in support of my complaint to the California Dental Board, submitted today, pertaining to reckless, unethical, dishonest, exploitive, and upon information and belief, illegal conduct by Dr. Thomas P Connelly, DDS. For the avoidance of doubt, I write in a personal capacity as Ye's most senior member of staff for nearly 2 years, motivated by urgent concern for his safety and his health. In my own capacity, and on behalf of several individuals close to him, I am not in a position to authorize the release of Ye's medical records, nor would I presume to do without his consent. Persons named in the affidavit include Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, Bianca Sensory, his wife, Milo Yiannopoulos, Billy Walsh, a former advisor for Ye, Joe the Grocer Wells, an associate of Connelly's, Jonathan Solorzano, a former chief technology officer, Idris Quiba, a business associate and business partner of Connelly's. The subject of this declaration is of sufficient gravity that I have taken the additional and unusual step of providing you a sworn, quote, jurate affidavit, which means that I write under the penalty of perjury. A copy of this complaint affidavit and supporting documentation has also been provided to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Office of the Attorney General for reasons that I will be apparent. Thomas Connelly is a dentist licensed in California with the number 101206, which maintains an office at, which I'm going to keep out, and resides at least some of the time at, and that's an address. I can't say that. I'll have to clear that. The affidavit pertains to actions of which include 1. Unlawful supply of enormous quantities of nitrous gas to wealthy, famous patient for explicitly recreational use. 2. The physical transportation of 4 surgical-sized canisters by Connelly himself into the patient's home on just one afternoon. 3. Charging more than $50,000 per month for the service. 4. Containing to supply the gas long after emergence of distressing symptoms that led to widespread comment and concern. 5. Instruction to the patient in the operation of nitrous gas canisters left by Connelly in patient's home. 6. Knowingly encouraging their use in the absence of qualified anesthesists or medical professionals by a person with a history of mental illness and addiction. 7. The abandonment of said patient to self-destructive consequences of said dependence, showing indifference or worse to the prospect of permanent damage in brain and in body by Connelly's negligence, at best, and malice with intent to defraud at worst. 8. Upon information and belief, the wrongful and fraudulent extraction of millions of dollars by Connelly and his business associates from a patient he knew to be in a confused, dependent, weakened, and addicted state. 9. Connelly's sudden move into the patient's apartment building at the patient's own expense, so as to, quote, better keep an eye on him, and his subsequent lies about the source of the funds for the move. 10. Text messages which appeared to show Connelly inquiring about the possibility of paying a third party to commit violence against the author of this affidavit when he failed to secure a $200,000 per month consultancy arrangement. 11. Testimony from Connelly's business partner that he has defrauded dozens of his athlete and celebrity clients based by charging them for natural stone diamond orthodontics, but in reality using cheap lab-grown diamonds for as much as 15,000% in price difference. 12. A written confession from Connelly, the most recent of his 2 bankruptcies, was entered into illegally for the purpose of evading tax, and upon information and belief was also calculated to excuse Connelly from a potentially large court judgment pertaining to life-altering surgical mistakes made on a woman's mouth. 13. Testimony from Connelly's business partner that he owes a debt of more than $2 million to a Mexican drug cartel, and that this cartel owns his surgical practice in Beverly Hills and uses it to launder money. I was elevated to Chief of Staff, the most senior employee in the company, in January of this year, after previously holding the positions of Political Director and Head of Public Affairs. I learned that the company had spent more than $200 million in 2023 while bringing in no revenue whatsoever. In addition, the company faced hundreds of millions of dollars worth of legal exposure. I immediately placed the business into emergency measures, terminating more than 130 people in the first month on the job. In 4 weeks, I brought Yeezy's $48.8 million equivalent annual salary bill down by almost $30 million with no observable effect on company operations. Ye's personal spending habits are stuff to legend, his prerogative, and his private affair. I spent the majority of my time preoccupied by the state of and moving quickly to reform his music and fashion empire. During February and March, I advised and deployed strict spending protocols, travel policies, limits on expenses, and other financial controls to rein in the company's appalling profligacy. I think that's the word. I brought in a chief financial officer who had overseen multiple government agencies, and each with budgets in the tens of billions, to audit a decade of Yeezy operations so we could advise Ye more wisely than his previous administrations. We began slashing and burning the enormous web of dormant and indebted entities, a legacy of 2 decades of neglect, which were now a danger in their own right. I discovered dozens of fraudulent schemes, audacious greed, double billing, duplication of labor, entirely unnecessary employees collecting 7-figure salaries, and all manner of other senseless wastes of money. I prioritized the identification of the most egregious thefts and frauds in case the perpetrators were still in Ye's orbit, terminating their contracts, including many described to me as quote, untouchable, and quote, leeches. For example, I discovered that Paul Johnson, a former gallery owner and longtime advisor of Ye, had charged him $6 million in 2021 for Damien Hirst sculpture that could have not been worth even $2 million, and then proceeded to claim millions of dollars a year from Ye in the years after, allegedly to oversee his archive. In fact, under Johnson, the archive was being plundered. Irreplaceable artifacts are now gone forever thanks to losses and thefts under Johnson's tenure, including Ye's Grammys, personal effects from birth certificates of his children, and even his mother's death certificate. Johnson bragged drunkenly to colleagues that he and the company's former CEO, Matt George, made millions of dollars via illegal insider trades of Gap stock in 2021 before Yeezy's partnership with Gap was public knowledge. Johnson had asked for and received his entire 2024 salary advance a few weeks before I took over. I terminated his consultancy after he lied to me, claiming that it had been quote, Ye's idea to pay him a year's salary in advance, and because Yeezy was presented with a bill nearly $1 million in bogus storage fees. Johnson has not returned the money, nor, to my knowledge, made any attempt to apologize for taking advantage of Ye so outrageously and for so many years. I discovered that Ye's archive had been plundered to exhaustion. There is no way to know true extent or enormity of the benefits from Ye's archive over the years. My staff was overwhelmed by the scale of the task. In light of Ye's unparalleled historical significance as a producer, recording artist, and clothing designer, I took decision in May to request assistance from Art Theft Program at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. With the advisor responsible, Paul Johnson, dismissed, I informed Ye that for the first time in half a decade, Yeezy no longer had anyone on staff making more than $1 million a year. Since my departure in May, I understand that the economy has returned to its prior state, and many of those found guilty of theft, extortion, and abuse have returned. It was in this context, having installed myself as a mandatory common sense check on new hires, which for the first time in Yeezy's history now included criminal background checks, that I first encountered Dr. Thomas Connelly, who was introduced to me as the dentist who assisted Ye in the design and installation of his widely reported and much admired titanium prosthodontics, first fitted in January 2024 at a cost, so the Daily Mail reported, of $850,000. Connelly was introduced to Ye by Billy Walsh, a music industry figure who was paid $1 million for his work on Vultures Volume 1, but could not identify a single track that he worked on when challenged by Yeezy staff. Connelly is a former columnist for the Huffington Post, where he once enlightened readers on the dangers of oral sex and cold sores. These days, he is a, quote, celebrity dentist, which in his case means both that he has celebrity clients and that he is desperate to become famous in his own right. He enjoys little success at the latter, but his clients are sufficiently newsworthy and his creations sufficiently garish that Connelly has been profiled by the New York Times as a man who, quote, creates $1,000,000 smiles with diamonds. Connelly describes himself as the, quote, father of diamond dentistry, but if his business partner, self-described computer hacker Idris Quiba, who resides at, which I can't say, somewhere in Washington, is to be believed that the nickname may not survive for much longer. Idris Quiba is an erratic, inconsistent witness who seems to enjoy at least his own mind, quote, playing all sides, but he shared conversation and documents that satisfied me he had done extensive business with Connelly and could fairly be described as his business partner. His grievances against him appear to be legitimate and his frustration genuine. Quiba says Connelly charges rappers and cartel bosses for natural stones but puts vastly cheaper lab-grown diamonds in their mouths instead. During various text and telephone conversations, Quiba gave varying accounts of how many Connelly's clients got fake stones, but they included Quiba himself, which Quiba offered as the reason for his break with Connelly and his willingness to supply information to me. On one occasion, Quiba told me he discovered fraud early enough to have his stones replaced with real diamonds. On another, he said he had his stones extracted and replaced. Either way, this is a matter for a full investigation by law enforcement. Given that his client list is said to include international drug dealers as well as entertainers, Connelly will lose a lot more than his favorite nickname if, or rather when, his patients find out. The rapper Lil Yachty gave Connelly $1,050,000 to permanently screw diamonds into his teeth. If they turn out to be fake, as Connelly's partner alleges they are, it may cost six figures just to find out, as the Diamond View luminescence test for the lab stones cannot be done while these stones are still in the person's mouth. Connelly has been bankrupt twice, the second bankruptcy by Connelly's admission entered into so that he could avoid tax. One of Connelly's bankruptcies appears to have been executed with the intention of avoiding court judgment. Presenting himself as a well-connected, successful entrepreneur, Thomas Connelly supplied Ye with advisors he was either in business with or whom he had discovered on Google mere days beforehand, and who demanded gigantic sums for their services. He lobbied hard for Joe Welsh, the greengrocer, who was on the verge of being hired by Ye on a guaranteed 3-year contract to give advice about opening retail stores. I interviewed to ask for a copy of his proposal. West shared a compensation package that amounted to over $10 million. As I noted in a letter declining Welsh's service, this, quote, eye-watering figure wasn't arrived at, quote, via upside profit share percentage or any other mechanism through which partners normally share in success, but comprised entirely of, quote, fees, charges, allowances, bonuses, premiums, and penalties. Welsh failed to provide references or any evidence he had charged similar fees in the past, even when asked to repeatedly do so. Connelly seemed a bit more irritated that Welsh had tried to strike a deal without cutting him in than outraged at the obscene amount of money he planned to charge. Supplied with a copy of the $10 million demand, Connelly continued to advocate Welsh, even requesting that I withhold details of the proposal from Ye until he'd massaged it to look more palatable. I refused. In a text message chain with Ye, Connelly, and Welsh, I wrote, quote, the structure of your proposal tells me that you believe Ye stores will fail. Are you prepared to exchange all of these fees and bonuses for profit share incentives to reassure me that I am wrong and ensure everyone's interests that are aligned? Welsh declined. Connelly later admitted that he and Welsh had fist-bumped each other on the way out of an early meeting with Ye, as Welsh loudly and, as it turned out prematurely, rejoiced that the pair of them were, quote, gonna get paid. I began to pay close attention to Connelly after this encounter. Not long after, a text thread in which I again declined Welsh's services, 3 hours to be exact, Connelly described his former recommendation as, quote, dead to me, but his own efforts were no more impressive. With no experience in either music or fashion, and without examining a single document or interviewing a single member of staff, Connelly proposed a widespread and disruptive changes to Yeezy's structure and operations without even knowing what they were, and offered himself as the deal candidate to lead the business and revivify the company's fortunes. Although he knew nothing about the business and had supplied no business plan or assessment of the company's financials because he didn't know them, Connelly nonetheless insisted that he could not accept any less than $2.4 million a year in compensation. He circulated a resume illustrated with half-naked photographs of himself, promoting widespread derision throughout the company. When a scope of work eventually arrived, the proposals were comically inadequate, and the first read in full. 1. Secure long-term sustainable funding for the company without debt or investors. 2. Solidify the long-term vision for Yeezy with Ye one-on-one. Concrete details of this vision recorded and categorized with dates and images. 3. Solidify the immediate goals for Yeezy with Ye one-on-one. These goals are to be accomplished within 12 months. 4. Build an actionable plan with Milo to achieve the goals set forth in item 3. 5. Execute 4 with Milo. His second attempt was even less inspiring and featured a baffling new addition to the plan, the development of a, quote, personal use into O2 system, cited as, quote, primary goal of the corporate restructuring. It became clear to me that Ye's growing dependence on nitrous gas and not Connelly's business expertise that the dentist was counting on to seal the deal. How else to explain the fact that his pitch to us for a $2.4 million a year consultancy was that he'd hire an ad agency to do all the work? Thomas P Connelly, DDS, Yeezy job description. Immediate concerns, Yeezy.com profitable online. 1. Assess Yeezy with Milo. Interview all current employees. Make any changes. 2. Reorganize Yeezy with Milo. Corporate structure. Corporate location. 3. Hire ad agency for Yeezy.com. Hill Holiday, Boston, Massachusetts. Top candidate. Primary goals. 1. Build the drone. 2. Personal use into O2 system. 3. Build the Yeezy car. Connelly is a tasteless, grating, gauche, and socially oblivious person, which I am able to state as a fact under oath because he has gone enormous lengths in his resume to communicate it. But surely it is nauseating and shameless, even by his lab diamond standards, that a person should propose to squander Yeezy's immense and unique cultural capital on slightly more thoroughly legalizing the gas, with which he is simultaneously poisoning his patient. It demonstrates by itself his unfitness as an advisor, obviously, but it does something else too, which is gently imply that he debauched neurotoxic bacchanalia into, I think is the word, into which he was plunging Ye, might not be quite as safe and legal as he kept insisting. By April, employees at all levels of the company were worrying about Ye's dependence on the gas and speaking openly about it. Ye talked about it nonstop in meetings. He seemed to be in and out of the inhaler mask on a near constant basis, even posting a video to message it's supposed to be boxer, Ryan Garcia's not an MMA fighter, Ryan Garcia on the subject. His directives were becoming incomprehensible and contradictory. Yeezy staff who could, quote, adjust for Ye, the women proficient in that subtle, sometimes dangerous art of distinguishing between a troubling episode and a regular Tuesday, all agreed that something was wrong. Ye insisted that I stop referring to Connelly as, quote, the dentist, and, quote, call him Tom. A division head with years' experience working closely with Ye confided to me that, quote, it was like speaking to an entirely different person. It was around that time that one junior staff confessed that he had seen Connelly hauling 4 large surgical tanks of nitrous oxide into Bianca Sensory's apartment, and that something had told him to take a couple of photographs. As many as 5 Yeezy employees are said to have been sufficiently worried as to have taken photographs of the home nitrous installation. When challenged, Connelly admitted that he had taken the canisters to Ye's home, but insisted absurdly that they were, quote, empty and had always, quote, been empty. I received concerned messages from Chief Technology Officer Jonathan Solorzano, all of which are included in the scheduled exhibits attached to this affidavit, including people well outside of the usual sphere of Ye-related concern and gossip, including from media personality Gavin McClins, who had interviewed Ye on camera the previous year. A long-standing vendor told me in apparent amazement how casually Connelly talked about, quote, putting Ye under, understanding him to mean full anesthesia, for no apparent medical purposes, as though it were a normal part of everyday life. A bill was received and paid for over $61,000 by Yeezy solely for anesthesia and nitrous gas. Quiba told me Connelly continues to collect fees this size from Ye, as well as flights and hotels in destinations such as Paris and Florence. While mostly safe when it's administered by professionals in a controlled setting, nitrous oxide can be deadly if not given the correct admixture. Unless supplemented by oxygen into O2 can cause asphyxiation and even heart attacks. Hypoxia from high doses can produce cardiac arrhythmias, anoxic brain damage, cerebral edema, and long-lasting neural deficits. Chronic exposure to nitrous oxide can cause megaloblastic erythropoiesis, neuron death, and damage to the spinal cord. Internet personality Orion shared in June of this year that she had lost the use of her legs and gained 100 pounds following prolonged abuse of nitrous oxide. The symptoms of Ye's widely reported bipolar diagnosis and the side effects of prolonged nitrous gas abuse are strikingly similar. Long-term abuse of nitrous produces erratic behavior, mood swings, paranoia, and violence. It is the worst imaginable substance for a person with bipolar disorder, cyclothymia, or some other group A/group B cluster comorbidity to abuse. I was told over the telephone by a Yeezy employee who wishes to remain anonymous that they directly witnessed Ye self-administering the nitrous gas provided by Connelly. The employee was not able to say if a regulator was being used or what proportion of oxygen, if any, was being added. Together with the volume of gas being delivered to a patient's home, this is a clear violation of California law which forbids, quote, clearly excessive prescribing or administering of drugs or treatment, as well as, quote, the failure to use a fail-safe machine with an appropriate exhaust system in the administration of nitrous oxide. Most disturbingly of all, I learned that Connelly had moved into the apartment building of Ye resided at during this period. At Ye's expense, I was asked by Ye to negotiate a second apartment at the same complex, which he said would be used as a, quote, studio. Before I had completed the negotiations, a pending charge on Ye's American Express card showed that 6 months' rent had been paid in advance to the building management company. When I challenged Connelly to explain this, he claimed to be moving in at his own expense. The American Express charge was later refunded. On May 2nd, the day of my resignation, I sent a text message imploring those around Ye to act, informing them of both the seriousness of the situation and Connelly's new living arrangements. Recipients of the message included Matt George, Ty Dolla $ign, Billy Walsh, Justin LeBoy, Juliana Yes Jules Goddard, Oz Taylor, Charles 88 Keys Najapa, John Monopoly, and Ricky D.P. Brescom, as well as Ye's lawyer, accountant, and other Yeezy staff. To my knowledge, no one did anything, though several have told me privately that they support my complaint and this affidavit. Connelly has a habit of launching into preemptive defenses of nitrous oxide before his interlocutor has even said, quote, good morning, which tells its own story. His omnipresence and that of the large surgical tank of gas that inevitably followed him solidly as he clamped himself to Ye, sometimes for days on end, violated both spirit and letter of state regulation. Given Connelly's familiarity with rap and hip-hop stars, many of whom have been clients in the past, there can be no doubt that he was aware of Ye's psychological vulnerabilities. I believe he has sought to exploit them and to have acted in sinister purpose against a celebrity whose mental health struggles have not only been in the subject of blanket media coverage for a decade or more, but which were the subject of his 2018 album Ye, on whose cover appears the phrase, quote, I hate being bipolar, it's awesome. Connelly was likely aware of the 2015 Paper magazine cover story in which Ye spoke effusively about a particularly enjoyable trip to the dentist. Payment records from Yeezy LLC show hundreds of thousands of dollars in payments to Connelly, such as $257,000 on January 7, 2024, marked dental work, followed by another $61,040 2 weeks later on January 29, 2024, also marked dental work. These are merely two of many payments. In June 2024, Connelly began paying Quiba to take fan pages offline that had been critical of him. Upon information and belief, Connelly paid five-figure sum to have one of Ye's most popular fan pages suspended on Instagram, damaging Yeezy LLC's commercial interests, because fan pages had posted concern about the volume of Ye's Nitrous take. Upon information and belief, Connelly attempted and failed to persuade Quiba to hack the mobile telephone and destroy the social media accounts of the author of this affidavit, and according to Quiba, inquired about doing physical harm to Yiannopoulos in retaliation for the latter's refusal to engage him as a consultant for $200,000 per month. The attempted sale of over $1 million worth of stolen Yeezy Gap merchandise in March of 2024 was conducted from a warehouse owned by Dominic Chabrone, a friend and patient of Connelly's. Chabrone later claimed to have been, quote, fully exonerated by the LAPD. The police department does not determine innocence or guilt. An investigation into this matter is currently with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, owing to the involvement of foreign nationals in international funds transfers. Upon information and belief, Eric Coy, a personal assistant and currently employed by Yeezy, told several online fan groups in June 2024 that a scan of Ye's head prompted by my warnings had revealed evidence of permanent brain damage from the rampant, prolonged abuse of nitrous oxide. Q has had a reputation for untrustworthiness, and I have not seen evidence of the scans he says were performed. But if the claim is true, Connelly is responsible for more than just financial malfeasance. Whether by recklessness, the most charitable interpretation, or, as I strongly believe, as a part of malicious, premeditated assault for financial gain, Connelly may have done irreparable harm to the mind of the world's most talented living musician and arguably its most commercially successful living fashion designer. There has been no medical justification for the presence of 4 surgical-sized canisters of nitrous gas at any patient's home, nor can there be any explanation for Connelly moving into the same building as Ye that is not sinister or extreme. The wrongdoings of men like Connelly is a subject for federal law enforcement, not celebrity managers or dental boards. But I urge you to suspend his license immediately, investigate him in all possible haste, and with all possible scrutiny, and when, as I know they will, your inquiries further substantiate what I have attested to here, adding more charges along the way, I implore you to revoke his license permanently. Connelly's predatory targeting of a demographic he regards as especially credulous African-American celebrities makes the urgency all the greater. Under penalty of perjury under federal law and the law of the state of California, I hereby declare and affirm that the above-mentioned statements are, to the best of my knowledge, true and correct. There's also some more information, such as his email, office, phone number, and address, which I'm not going to show here, but there's also a schedule of exhibits, which is basically like what's going to be shown in this affidavit as well, which I don't think is shown here. It's not shown in this document. I think some of them have already been shown, though. Like in this video, you're going to see them. But these are just a list of things, like a list of attachments and such that are going to be in this affidavit that is going to be sent to both, I'm guessing, like the law, the judges, the court, the people over the licenses for dentists in California and such. Here is the exhibits. A job description submitted by Thomas Connelly to Yeezy LLC for which he sought payment of $200,000 per month. B, resume provided by Thomas Connelly in support of the above application. C, text messages between Milo Yiannopoulos and Thomas Connelly in which Connelly admits to delivering 4 surgical-sized tanks of nitrous gas to patient's home. D, photograph of Connelly's transporting tank of nitrous gas into Bianca Sensory's apartment building. E, photograph of tanks of nitrous gas at the residence of Bianca Sensory. F, photograph featuring a tank of nitrous gas with Ye visible in frame. G, text messages from Ye pertaining to nitrous gas. H, text messages from Yeezy employees concerned about the frequency of nitrous gas was being administered to Ye. I, text messages showing Connelly's proposal that Yeezy LLC should advocate for the deregulation of nitrous gas for recreational purposes. J, partial record of payments to Connelly from Yeezy LLC. K. Resignation letter of Milo Yiannopoulos. L. Letter from Milo Yiannopoulos to agent of Billy Walsh. M. Text messages between the founders of Breath Delete LLC. N. Breath Delete investor pitch deck P. O. Breath Delete corporate documents and tax information. P. Text messages from Connelly's business partnership, Idris Quiba, including A. Alleged sale of counterfeit lab diamonds to several A-list celebrities. B. Alleged financial relationship with a Mexican drug cartel. C. Alleged money laundering by said cartel through Connelly's Beverly Hills practice. D. Alleged $50,000 per month fee for providing nitrous gas to Ye. E. Alleged fraud discovered by Quiba in relation to his own dentistry and money refunded. F. Screenshot provided by Idris appeared to show Connelly confessing in writing that his most recent bankruptcy was fraudulent, entered into with purpose of avoiding $1 million in taxes. Now we're back onto the main list of stuff. Q. Invoice adjustment from Connelly to Quiba. R. Miscellaneous public records related to Thomas P Connelly. S. Miscellaneous public records related to Idris Quiba. T. Court filings pertaining to Falletta v. Connolly case. Case number 1:16 CV 29 capital JD. U. Photograph of alleged tattoo work on the torso of Idris Quiba. V. State of California Business and Profession Code, Section 1680. W. Text thread between Yiannopoulos, Ye, Connelly, and, quote, Joe the Grocer. X. Text messages between Yiannopoulos and Connelly. Y. Text from Yiannopoulos to Ye intimates and friends dated May 2nd, 2024. And that is the full sworn affidavit. There is also some stuff I can show here that has recently been leaked from this. And there is some, like, he shows some of the attachments that he's, like, giving, like a text conversation between Connelly, Ye, and himself. But this whole affidavit went on to bring up points I brought up earlier, like in the Reddit post, like how it went down through the points. It brought up those and also brought up how the dentist scammed and used Ye, and the dentist got him addicted to nitrous, used fake jewelry, and overcharged some of his clients, which were celebrities. And also, some of these celebrities, like, they have fake diamonds in their teeth, and they cannot get these diamonds tested unless they take out all these teeth that have the diamonds on them. Which I tried to, like, imply earlier, which is just insane. So, people like Lil Yachty, to prove if they have real diamonds or not, have to get their teeth removed to even just prove if they have real diamonds or not. Also, there was in this that he messed up a woman's mouth during a surgery, which is insane. He's also been bankrupt a few times, is in debt to the Mexican drug cartel, and they use his business to launder money. He also tried to take down fan accounts of Ye's that were, like, going against Thomas and were worried about Ye. The dentist also talked about trying to pay someone to hurt Milo because he didn't want to pay him $200,000 a month to be a consultant under Yeezy. Yeezy closed, and a lot more was said in this. It was a whole bunch of information that was just absolutely insane. Milo fixed the Yeezy company, but when he left, it all went to trash again, and a lot of the old people that should have not been there and were using Ye ended up getting back in somehow. This statement was painful to read and listen to as a Ye fan myself, and just in general, the effects gas can have on these people and him using it could possibly kill him and his career, leaving behind a legacy, millions of fans, and most importantly, his family. The affidavit being a legal statement, it solidifies the stuff as, like, mainly the truth, or, like, he is so confident in what he is saying that it is truthful, and also he has all these attachments for the legal stuff, which is insane. Like, it just gets so much deeper. And when, like, at first I was like, okay, these are all just alleged stuff, like, oh, okay, whatever. And then this affidavit hit, and I was like, oh wow, this is all kind of getting a little bit more true the more you look at it, which is, you know, really scary as a Ye fan. I honestly hope Thomas Connelly is put into prison and gets his license revoked. Hopefully he gets his license revoked soon. As far as I know, this affidavit was posted, I think, just a day or two ago from what I remember. It was posted on August 7th. It's August 15th, and I don't know if he has his license revoked yet. But he really does need that to happen immediately, and then prison time later. And I hope he's never near another dentist office. It sucks now because he probably has other dentists he can get the gas from. This is just absolutely absurd. Milo already said in the document that he is sending a letter or statement to the people who are over dentist licenses in California. Like, he's basically sending this to them as well. Hopefully some action gets took. Will this get Ye off the gas? Possibly, but most likely not. And the possible permanent brain damage part makes me incredibly sad and mad at the same time. Like, this is like one of my favorite artists, and he's being ruined by addiction, and I just want justice for this, and I want him to get better so bad. There needs to be laws against whippets being sold in stores and such, because how in the world has this been on shelves ever? Like, why in the world would this ever be on? I'm frustrated a little bit. Hopefully Milo or someone can get a person around Ye to stop the usage of this stuff and get him just better people around him. The dentist, Thomas Connelly, has before on his own Instagram posted himself with a nitrous gas tank in his possession in a like undisclosed area. It's in a basket of sorts, and on the Instagram reel he posted it on, in text it says, "If you know, you know," hinting that he is using it for illegal purposes, making his intentions fully clear and out in the open, which was one of the dumbest moves you could ever have. Like, if he didn't have that post, like, sure, there's a lot of proof here right now, but that Instagram post proves more why he should not have a license. There is also pictures of Ye on the nitrous gas, like him having the nose part of it. And there is a Instagram post from Thomas giving praise to Ye. While writing this, more posts have came out from Milo. And one of these posts is him emailing, I'm guessing, Thomas's manager or something like that. And this dude is also connected to Travis Scott. And this email says, the subject is "Attention, Ted Anastasio." It says, "Ted, probably a good time for us to have a conversation. The DA and the FBI are opening up a criminal investigation into your client, Thomas Connelly. I understand you are begging media outlets to leave your name out of their stories, but we're talking about someone who is targeting African-American celebrities, putting fake stones in their mouths, and drugging them to extract millions of dollars from their accounts. If I hadn't intervened, Ye might now be dead. Do your clients know you're defending Dr. Death of Dentistry?" Sorry. For Travis Scott, for instance, call me, and that's his cell number. Milo also shown text between himself, Thomas, and Ye talking about Nitrous. Thomas starts out the conversation saying, "Stands about 10 inches, AI-generated handheld nitrous oxide personal use system. I loaded the AI with some real into O2 images, and it spit this out, exclamation mark, fire emoji." And it shows a image of a nitrous oxide system with dual barrels. And apparently it's like a handheld system. Milo says, "If you want Joe the Grocer's numbers to make sense, I need 8. Which I don't really know what he's talking about there. Maybe 8 inches or maybe 8, like, canisters? I have no idea. Thomas says, "This needs to be a long-term goal. Get recreational nitrous legalized. Meanwhile, we mastered the delivery system with a 2-year head start. Surely you're joking. Prolonged misuse of nitrous causes birth defects, problems with B12, your spinal cord disintegrates. Why would anyone want to introduce another drug to an already depressed, addicted, demoralized, and apathetic population of dopamine slaves?" And before we get on to what Ye said, you can see here that Ye, his profile picture is Golden Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's for whatever reason. Everyone looked at this more than what was being said, which I still think it's funny. But you can see here that Ye hearted Thomas's text talking about needing to legalize recreational nitrous. Then about the dopamine slaves thing, like why would anyone want to introduce another drug? Thomas reacts to that text from Milo with a ha-ha, basically laughing at the serious thing that Milo said there. Ye says in the texts, "Can I have nitrous today? Tom, you said you'd bring them by today. Checking in. Are you at the chateau?" "Yes, can do," says Thomas. And I think that's it. That's all we get from the text conversation here. And this text conversation was in April 14th. This is so disgusting, the reactions to the texts and stuff. It's just so absurd. This all started, I'm guessing, in January or earlier and has gotten worse recently, as said in the statement, and because, and Ye got that grill back in January, early January, so I'm pretty sure this started back then, and I think maybe Ye had some issues before. I don't know specifically with what. I'm trying to think of any song lyric or what I could say, but I think Milo said that he already had issues with addiction beforehand. Ye has always been known to be and act different, though. Some say a car crash he was involved in changed him forever, which if you don't know, in 2002, Ye got into a car crash after falling asleep behind the wheel. I think 2 weeks after he got signed to Rockefeller. After falling asleep behind the wheel, he ended up hitting an oncoming car. The other person's legs both broke due to the crash, and Ye's jaw was shattered in 3 different places. This is where some people predict the start of his mental health decline. Ye said himself a while back that the car crash made him autistic or gave him signs of autism. He had some breakdowns in the past and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is talked about in the album Ye, as referenced on the album cover saying, "I hate being bipolar, it's awesome," which was referenced in the affidavit. But he has said in the past and even shown text conversations with people trying to possibly get him extremely medicated so he can't think for himself or make music and steal all of his money and such. So he probably isn't medicated, probably is pretty paranoid, and is why he doesn't have a good people around him, because everyone seemingly tries to screw him over. But there's also been a problem in the background, as he hasn't always had people with good intentions around him, and it's obvious in this whole situation that some people are not helping him at all in Yeezy and are only using him. All of this can heavily affect his future, and I'm not an expert or know anyone specifically that he should boot out of Yeezy and his personal life, but there definitely needs to be some action took to help Ye on the inside and get the right people around him. Milo needs to come back to Yeezy and hire the correct people and fire the correct people. And just like, it's so weird because why is Bianca Sensory, Ty Dolla $ign, and all these other people not doing stuff? Why is everyone saying stuff in the background but not taking action? I know that Ye is probably a little hard to talk to due to just all of his issues, and just like you can't really convince him probably of some stuff, but I feel like people whispered in his head and told him that he should do this Nitrous, or they convinced him, knowing like, you know, scariness of addiction and all that, or the possibility. So I feel like someone can whisper him out of it. You know, just the good people to be around him. And if someone helps him and guides him in the right direction, I feel like it's extremely possible. He doesn't really like Hollywood. He doesn't like Hollywood or the people around that, and doesn't trust those people either. So he's having to go to like all these other sources, like these sources that aren't as popular or aren't as known. Like he can't go to Jay-Z and ask like, oh, who should I hire? Like he has to, I feel, in a way. That's how I think he feels, because we know that he doesn't like Hollywood or trust those people. He doesn't like or trust those people, and he doesn't want those type of people to basically be in his corner, so he's having to go with others. And also I feel like even if he went with these higher up, more known people that everyone else loves and trusts, I feel like they still would try to misuse him, and there'd still be snakes in the grass. But that's the biggest issue that he really has in the background, is, and that's what basically the community knows for a long time, that he's just never really had the greatest people behind him. But Milo seems to be one of those people, and some other people that have shown concern. Those seem like genuine people that, you know, want to actually help him. And I hope that those people get to stay around. And I hope that someone takes charge and does the correct things to fire these people that are like the dentist and like all these other dudes, and keep Ye away from those people. Like, I know it sounds weird, but because he's a grown adult and he can make his own decisions, but he really does need like a mentor of sorts or something. But recently, going on to the second part of this video where I talk about whippets, and I was going to make a video specifically on that stuff because it's become more trendy than ever, and they've been around for a long time, and even bottled at gas stations and such, I'm pretty sure. But it's gotten worse now more than ever, I feel. I don't know, it's basically nitrous oxide, but in a smaller canister, and people have been using a lot. And I think it's been buyable in gas stations for a long time. I think I watched a Goblin video talking about whippets and such, like not specifically about them. I watched a Goblin video, which if you don't know is a YouTuber who has done basically about everything. Not exactly like some of the hardest stuff, but he's done a lot, and he's been around that culture for a long time, so he understands that stuff more than anyone else. And I think he said even back in the day when he was little, which was like 10 plus years ago, around 10 years, they were even selling them in bodegas and gas stations. And I think recently, now, they have actually gotten more mainstream and more viable at gas stations and such. I've seen somewhere online that people are buying them out of bodegas, which is basically like a small corner store, I guess is how I would describe it. But it's gotten worse now more than ever, I feel, and I see a lot of people using this one certain brand called Galaxy Gas, and it really makes me cringe. There's been this meme or this picture online that shows this dude, like basically did an Instagram story, posted that this dude had tens of Galaxy Gas containers, and he was like, bro, my friend's a fiend. Like, everyone's joking about it, but it's actually real. Like, that's a huge problem. Like, that dude had a huge problem. There's tens of those canisters in this dude's room. And it really makes me cringe, like, thinking about and seeing people use it. It just really, like, in a way scares me. Like, I hate that. People are doing this so casually now and out in the open in, like, real life. Like, I've seen videos on Twitter of this dude, like, just using it, like, at a gas station, like, outside of a gas station, normal. Like, it's like a cigarette. And there's a whole area of Twitter or a subculture on there that shows, it's called drug Twitter. And they showed themselves doing stuff even harder and just more outrageous stuff. And I really do hate to see it. I don't like watching that stuff. In my own personal life, I've seen what drugs and alcohol can do to family and friends. And I know that my name online is PERK30, but I really do hate and do not condone any substance use unless it's medical. That's the only time I have, like, any somewhat exception for it. I've never had or never wanted to feel a unnatural or out-of-body experience or to be dependent on something like that. At times, I do feel bad about my name because people in the comments will talk about their stories with substance issues and even specifically perks themselves. But these people talk about, you know, specifically the past, meaning they're clean now. And I encourage everyone dealing with these issues to go get help and fix yourself up. But you don't just hurt yourself, but also your family and friends and anyone else around you as well when you do this stuff. Sure, they aren't taking it with you, but they have to deal with you and see you in this way, and it can really suck and hurt people in a lot of ways. The thing is, no matter what I say or what anyone says to Ye or someone in their own life, that person that is dealing with this issue has to have some want or put some effort into changing, or they never will. And I hope that Ye gets to that point. Ye means a lot to me and to a lot of people. I want to see him get better, release more music and clothes, more than anyone else. Some people are saying this is the reason why he can't release music on time, which is not true at all because he has always been behind, besides maybe a time or two on album releases. There is like a whole little chart that's shown like how he's delayed, how long he's delayed like certain albums and such. So he's never... This isn't new. Him delaying albums and stuff isn't new. This happened during the Donda era as well. Like, you know, it was delayed for the longest time and all that. So this isn't... I feel like that's not exactly true. But with all that said, but I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way because some people were saying that. Now about the clothes, I don't know. But whenever all this information first started coming out, people were like, "Oh, this is why he isn't releasing music and all this other stuff." With the clothes, I don't really know. But really, I want to see him release new clothes. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him have the brightest light shined on him, you know, be the brightest shining star. Because he does mean a lot to not just his fans, but to music in general. He's so amazing at what he does in everything. Clothes, music, shoes. Like, even, like, a sneakerhead will know what Yeezys are. And, like, anyone that likes shoes. Like, basketball players, I've seen so many basketball players wear foam runners. And he's trying to, you know, make a basketball shoe. And the only thing I've recently seen is that he's possibly going to collab or, like, partner with Nike. I saw one tweet about it. I've not seen anything else. I hope that tweet is true because I need some new Yeezys. I need some new Yeezys to drop. I have the Yeezy pods, but I want some shoes. And I don't feel like buying from Adidas. Do not buy from Adidas. But anyway, with all that said, thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this situation down in the comments down below. If you like this video, I make other videos like this on different topics. This video was not supposed to be as long as it is. Like, I thought this video was going to be a short 20, maybe 30-minute video, but from what I'm looking at, I've talked for an hour and a half or so. So it's going to be probably closer to an hour, which I'm fine with. I like my videos being long, but it kind of impressed me. I have another big video coming up in the future. I was working on this video first. I was working on the other video I have planned first. And then this happened. I was like, I want to talk about this. Make sure to like and subscribe as I am trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. I have some bigger videos planned in the future and hopefully can get them out to you all soon. With all that said, once again, like and subscribe. Follow my Twitter at PERK3030. And in the end, I'm PERK30. And good luck to you all this week. How does someone even make a 14-minute video on such a big topic like this? Like, dude, keep my goat's name out of your mouth, okay? Go focus on chatting with minors like how you were before.
In retrospect,
I never should have continued the furry stuff with him once I learnt of his age, even though at the time I didn't see it as a problem. Legally, age of consent is 16 in both my country and his state.
Okay? Like, also, people were, like, talking about, oh, who just recently got exposed and, like, they're like, oh, Mr. T. Lexify and Pyrocynical both beat the allegations. He didn't! Pyro did not beat the allegations. He did not. Go watch my video on this situation if you haven't already. I usually, like, would be like, oh, please go watch that video. Like, I usually recommend it at the end of my videos, but I've stopped recently. But, like, go check it out, okay? Like, Pyro, one, keep my goat's name out your mouth, okay? Make videos on everything else. There's no way you could make a good 14-minute video on this topic. Like, does it have to be an hour long? No. Keep my goat's name out your mouth. This is why you come watch me, okay? Because I actually give you details, okay? I'm not going to make no terrible jokes. And, you know, this dude, I bet he doesn't even understand the culture, okay? He sits there and listens to, like, Grimes and Blade and doesn't know how to say Tory Lanez's name. One of the easiest names in rap history.
With Tory Lanez, whose Kendrick actually appeared on Future and Metro's booming track Like That. And this is an album for all the scary dogs, which is where but then other albums like Good Kid and Mad City basically got too much hype for their
you know, come to the culture, dude, okay, if you want to actually hear about the news, okay? I'm just saying, if you actually want a good detailed video on it, you gotta come to me. You can't go to this dude. This dude has no idea what he's talking about. And it's been obvious in the past. Like, go focus on your podcast that's currently having a meltdown. Because currently, if you don't know, one of the co-hosts of, like, a podcast he's on is having a meltdown. And basically saying he's gonna stop doing the show. Why does this dude still have a channel? Bro, this woman got, like, basically verbally abused, and I think physically, during the I'm Alex situation, which I want to talk about at some point. And dude just, like, tries to make a joke about it, saying, like, oh, unlucky.
Did you hear about the I'm Alex abuse allegations? Yeah, I commented on it before. I said unlucky.
Why does this dude still have a channel? Alright, so this time, this is the actual outro, the second outro. If you watched all the way this far, thank you for the second part. Hopefully a video on some of the stuff that I brought up in the end here soon at some point. I don't know exactly when. I have some other videos on my plate first, but this will be a video in the future. So expect a part 2 to my bigger video on him, because it really just needs to be done. Because, somehow he still has a channel. I don't know how. But thank you for watching this far. It really does mean a lot. And, have a good luck to the rest of your week, except if you're Pyrocynical or Thomas P Connelly.